I have to fix it. I have to save the world, chat. Man. Personally, comparing women to each other and rating women like this, fucking disgusting. It fucking sucked, dude. The generalizations and the weird virtue circling and this and that, and fucking Rhea hanging out with them is gross, dude. Ugh. But then we can see who's been weirder to women. Bro, you doxed her. You fucking doxed the woman who let you in, who was closest to you, who, you know, apparently just liked you for you, who wanted to have like a more stable, long-term future with you, retard. You fucking doxed her. You fucking put her in personal danger as much as you could, in order to like terrify and scare her and make her think like she was the one who did something wrong for not wanting to put up with your bullshit. Like, actual lunatic. There's a reason why Rhea, a person who was my biggest attractor, is chill with me. Well, Lee, that reason is crisp lettuce. So congratulations, bro. Turns out nothing is real. Yeah, now your biggest hater is one of your best friends. It's fucking disgusting. Ugh. We make... Welcome in, everybody, though. Oh man, that Justical Nick Cry emote is pretty cool. Techno Monster. He's got some good ones. Good golly gosh. Did you guys see the tweet where it was like, it's a bad day to be a DGGer? That shit was very funny. It was like Cherry's crying, Justical's an abuser, Chud Logic streams are up, Wick streams are up, Destiny's still in court. You know, Lycan's gone. Lycan's working for XQC. Nah, that wasn't in the tweet. But then it just ended with, it's a terrible time to be a DGG. And you know, for me personally, there's a lot of like fine DGGs, and those are the DGGs who like watching movies on the weekend. And about 50, 60 DGGs have joined Justical's community lately, and I don't recognize any of them. And they are the worst kind of DGG, just absolute brain rotted freaks, like trying to mimic Destiny in a lot of different ways, which is pretty wild. That girl just piss everywhere. That's awesome. You guys want to see a guy making a girl squirt? What the hell? Wait, which scene do I need up? I'm super confused. Okay, we got this one. We got this one. We can run this one. Hopefully I don't get banned for this. She just it happens. It happens. Although if she was expecting this to happen, which she looks like she was, we got a Ninu post. We got a Ninu post. Do we like a Ninu post? Yeah, we like a Ninu post. Dude, this Grievous dude, I see him everywhere. I'm gonna start reacting to his shit. Anyway, so the whole thing with Lee yesterday was like, we wanted to have a look at what Censure said to him, because that shit was real interesting. Like, in a vacuum, she was funny as fuck. She showed that she was like psychologically outmaneuvering him, and he showed that he was like pumping in point after point after point of like manipulation and pressure, and she was like calling it out eventually at one point. I'm sure like during obviously they had a relationship that went on for a while, so like during that time it would have been impossible for her to call it out. And that's the whole point, is that like these abusive people strike when you aren't expecting them. They get your trust so that their foolish deceptions will work. That is foolish, because all you need to do is just be solid. Like, I have had the shit that happened to me recently was like on some level coordinated, on a lot of level very emotionally driven, so it was like intense. The emotional part took away from the coordination part, but there was multiple people like coming after me for a long period of time, even when I didn't realize. Other people who are outside of it and who aren't me seem to think it was going on longer and like more intense than what I saw, and happening with like more people against me than I realize. And it's good, you know, like I don't want to burden my brain and my stress levels by knowing every single detail of the way these people are trying to fuck me over. And we'll have a look at the emails that Lee sent me yesterday, and then we'll have a look at a few other things surrounding him. Unfortunately, Censure is content cucking us. We still don't have you know, all of her leaks that we wanted to get into. But I know, like, he's not like the worst person or anything, and this isn't like an Emro style, like catching a pedophile. It's just like super interesting in isolation to watch Censure call him out. She's really funny, and there's like a long line of like tactics of his that like aren't working, and it's like, oh man, like you get to see like a desperate, mentally ill dude aggressively like chasing a girl. So you get like a cool little character study in a void where you don't need like other information to like look at it. We can't do that right now, but we can poke a little bit of fun of him and do a little bit of like Discord drama right now on the way this is like playing out. He also like threatens me in these DMs, so like obviously I should just speak against it like straight away. All right. How's that audio levels of you guys? How was that answer, Cosmic Stray? If you feel like you're ready to have a wee little geese, we often look at like a lot of like self-help books and all the stuff that's going on here in this channel as well. And there's some super funny parts in here where Lee sort of presents himself as that kind of person as well. He's a very fluid speaker, and essentially there's like a lot of degenerate young men who, because of all of they're all like a little group of outcasts, and they all hang out together, and it makes them come like very close together and like defend each other and whatnot. But because of this, they are a lot more forgiving of each other's like misdeeds, so they all sort of become worse and worse people. So there's a few like different ways to look at this, like in a void and in an isolation. And yeah, these like misfits don't hold each other to like a very high standard, and then they tolerate each other's like downfalls, both so they can point to each other and be like, well, that guy's like obviously way worse than us. Like, what about this? Like, what about that? And it's like, dude, you did some horrible shit that you're trying to play down, and you're trying to find other people to give you this like emotional support so you can like have amnesia to the reasons why this is bad. Lee is a super interesting one where, or not super interesting, he is just like they all have extreme outlying traits, and one of Lee's ones is just like he's a talker, like a fucking car salesman. A lot of them share like certain traits, like they all do a lot of love bombing, and they all like want to be involved like parasocially and this and that, because like problem with being like a misfit who is so outcast from like regular society and, you know, developing these other traits is that pointless things like, I don't mean to discount it so much, but it's way more satisfying having like deeper, realer relationships with people than just like chasing people parasocially on the internet, which is all these dudes end up feeling like they can do. So that becomes like a big thing to them. And I'm a bit of a misfit as well, and maybe a little bit of an outcast, but I go through the grueling path of like self-improvement. Often I'll find that other people, especially dudes like this, not done any at all. So when they like even consider and try to present the idea of self-improvement, they present basic level 1 bullshit, or they present something that you would go through as like a toddler. You know, we're born blood covered, slime covered little cretins out of our mum's wonderful cavity, and we scream and we kick and we holler, and a lot of them fall back to that. And then a lot of them will also, like FMJ is like that, he's like a fucking baby. A lot of them, like Lee, will be like a toddler who will be like, he made it to toddler stage, but a toddler has like no real sense of their neurons. His brain has not adapted to consider the people around him as people. So he's rude, he snatches the toy, he throws it back in your face, he doesn't appreciate the things you've done for him. And so for Lee, when he talks about self-improvement and stuff, he presents things like a parent leaning down to a toddler, and he pretends to be like the parent who's like, oh, getting it. When it shows like analysis of himself, it's very funny that he trays that like it's a meaningful thing, and he's very good at that. He's a very good speaker, which is one of the ways that I clued into how much of a degenerate and how sociopathic he is, because he will give very good talks, you know, with a little punchline, like, well, the punchline comes later. He'll give a very good talk where he will display an understanding of a concept, and often it won't be a relevant concept. The whole point is just that he gets the airtime, he gets to have the talk in front of everyone, and people are like, wow, well said, and like, this guy knows what's up. But very often I would notice that he would do this just to take airtime away from someone else, put it on himself, make himself look like he was cool, calm, and reasonable in that situation, and then a punchline would come at the end where he would undermine it all. And the relationship with censure was a lot like this, where it would be pulling her in, giving these good talks about things, but then it would come with more abuse very quickly afterwards, which leaves people feeling like discombobulated. Like, oh, he just apologized for, undermining my education or my learning ability, or like, why did he attack me for something that he is also doing, but like, he seemed so sincere for it. And I like pretty quickly took a step back from my friendship with Lee. Why the fuck am I getting so many apologies from this guy? And it's for one, it's because I can easily like point to things that he should be apologetic for, but it's always like overblown. Like, it's like you are like self-flagellating to like a massive level, like performatively for me. I don't see people begging for apologies like this ever, but you're so comfortable doing it. You're like a man who's been caught cheating on his wife. You're like a man who accidentally punched his kid in the head after a long stressful day at work. I'm not saying that that's an okay thing for a man to do and you can't really just apologize your way out of it, but Lee seems to think that you can, and he just seems to like do this over and over and over for things, but then he'll undermine it immediately later. It kind of works like as far as like hot and cold. People end up feeling he did that to censure. This is why the censure logs would be so good, where Lee would attack them for being like bipolar, and then Lee is bipolar, so he would give this wonderful speech like, oh, I'm sorry, I spoke out here and there, like, and I shouldn't just like call you out for bipolar and then just say that you're like bad at gaming because you're a woman, when really like it was like my fault, yada yada yada. And then he's a much better speaker than me, so like he'll do that shit on the fly like way better. And then a moment later he will that person who was like just brought to tears by him is then moved by this big apology, and then they sort of feel a little bit not as bad for like what he did to them, but then they're still not sure because he gave a good apology, like, oh, he's friends with my other friends and this and that. And then they feel a little bit like, oh, whatever. And then Lee will double it down by being like, well, like, you're actually a little bit irrational for like still being upset with me, right? Because I gave the good apology and like it's fine. So then it's like they're crazy mad. And then they do feel like, oh, maybe I was a little bit irrational. And then they're apologetic to him, but they are genuinely like, oh, like, sorry, dude, for like being so upset and doubting you. But it's like, no, they had every reason to be upset, and they should have cut that guy off because he's like intentionally doing exactly that. And you can see this in the censure logs that she posted the other day, but she content cucked me real hard and kind of bitched me the fuck out in chat, so fuck me, right? I wanted to look at that yesterday. I don't know, like 12 hours later in the middle of the night, I got this. I forgot like that we'd even talked about it, and it didn't really make sense, but he said, yo, Crisp, just wanted to say I'm looking forward to the expose. There is no expose. Afterwards, you should do an expose on yourself. Ooh, crazy. And then we can weigh up who's been weirder to women. So this is again like the pointing to other people and like weighing, like this is this degenerate thing of I know you, I don't care. After that, we can both attend a group online therapy session, which would serve as a real bonding moment where we can put our past of the internet degeneracy behind us. It's just like a weird virtue signal, constantly like presenting like this silver lining of the best thing to do or some shit, as if I'm the guy who knows what's good. And I'm like, yeah, damn bro, you be watching me like that? You type in Justical. I didn't type about this in Justical at all. People tell me about it from Justical. I don't think that you have like a good judge of character for your friends, bro. Obviously your friends were telling you things that weren't true in the worst light to wind you up. I send you a shitpost. This is probably why your friends do it. That's about what happened. I believe him. That probably is what happened. Lay off the pipe, mate. And then we get this gay fucking meme stuff. I had a quick look in Justical server, didn't really get anything of substance. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of people shit-talking Lee in Justical server. I wonder how many of them get emails. Well, actually, it turns out Kendrick was getting some messages from him. Artful, giving some base takes. Big shout-out to Artful here. If you scare the shit out of your target with the personal info you've leaked to the point where they leave and say not to ban you because they are scared, you're all set to come back, no worries. So yeah, Lee is weirdly enough like trying to come back to Justical's Cool's community. It's a little bit like Peach coming back, where everyone's like, Peach, like, you've just been talking shit about us for weeks. It's just part of that misfit trait. You could go along with the love bombing thing. It's also like the trying to scare people thing and trying to act like you're a big, cool, big bad wolf. And then here was a funny one from Kendrick Lamar. I haven't seen this proof, but Cincha told me about this, and then I saw Kendrick doing it. So I'm guessing Kendrick has screenshots from Cincha. Okay, so it's basically that Lee thinks that Rhea is fat and a 5 out of 10, and likes to put her down to other women to let Rhea know if so Rhea has like a lot of conflict with other women. And it turns out that Lee would reach out to those other women and just be like, hey, don't worry about it. This is a good opportunity for me and you to go close, because I can let you know that I think that Rhea is a fat 5 out of 10. Personally, comparing women to each other and rating women like this, fucking disgusting. However, Rhea does the exact same thing to Lee. I have 2 images in there of Rhea in my DMs just spurging about Lee. So the 2 of them are friends right now. The 2 of them have become buddies. Lee bragged about it to Kendrick, which is what we're about to look at there. But I just want to like set the scene. Rhea became friends with Lee because she was upset with me, basically. Nothing was really real. She through her really good friend Chris Bledis, who was, fighting the good fight for her and really doing. I gave Rhea about as much goodwill as I've ever given anyone, just to be very clear. I was pretty committed to her as a person. I'm not saying I was perfect, but I am going to undermine everything that she has done and said about me and to me, because I don't deserve, and no one really deserves the way that she treated me. I'm just thinking about how good Justical is being to Cherry right now, where he's like, hey, I don't want to speak on it. I don't want to undermine, what is potentially still his girlfriend. He's like, I don't want to really undermine like her stuff. Anyway, so here's a funny one from me and Rhea's DMs, where you can see at 8:15 we're like laughing about stuff, and then just like 2 hours later she randomly messages me about Lee. Oh my god, why is Lee shading me right now? He looks like a 6. It's always the most mid-white men. So these 2 love to judge each other's looks. Fucking 2 birds of a feather, dude. Here's another one where Rhea just brings up Lee. I'm aware. Also, for the record, I didn't leave because of a random flirt ban. I left because I got timed out for a day for calling Lee an abusive piece of shit. Essentia. This is like a mental breakdown that Rhea is having in my DMs. You can see like, why are you talking to me? Go, like, shut the fuck up. Go away. She wouldn't fucking stop messaging me. She wouldn't leave me alone. I was having problems, dude. And it was problems that turned out to be because of her. I'm aware. Also, for the record, I didn't leave because of a random flirt ban. I left because I got timed out for a day for calling Lee an abusive piece of shit to censure and minimizing that he keeps leaking her first name. Called him out and he started spamming her full name in Gen Chat. So this is like an admission on this thing that she fights Justical about. Justical basically was very pissed off that Rhea kept antagonizing Lee to the point where Lee, who takes this space very seriously, decided to dox people. No mod could tell me what I did was wrong. Yes, you argued about this a lot. Simply, the team decided it's 24 hours, no reason, just sweeping for a doxer. I don't know if it was sweeping for a doxer. I don't exactly know the details of this. From what I understand, it wasn't 24 hours. Lee was permabanned. Looting was banned because it made people think that the space was more serious than it is, and there was some other action that was taken. And all I remember is Justical saying to Rhea, like, hey, people were egging Lee on, and you were the main one amongst them. You escalated instead of de-escalating. You can't show that you weren't. What do you want? What could I have done better? He just kept saying, like, what could I have done better? So if you guys want to go look through Justical's logs, there's like a nice little playing out of that scenario. And some things maybe Rhea is right, and other things she wasn't, but like she doesn't need to dump this fake story that isn't really what happened in my DMs randomly. And it also just shows, Leah's an abusive piece of shit. Here's another example we'll look at in a second, but you can see on the 5th of later on, like a week later, she's just randomly shitting on Lee again. I'm like, hey, you LeChunklered that issue. Am I using the word LeChunkler right? And she's like, I don't know, but it was funny. I'm a mega loling IRL. And then out of nowhere, there's no shot. Lee posts this. You know who shouldn't take things personally? Him. What a fake fucking virtue signal. And this is like gay and retarded as fuck. But yeah, Lee posted this trying to show like personal growth. But once again, this is like a video made for toddlers. This is literally a lesson in a video for toddlers. He basically just uses it to point to like, Cincha's got her problems and they shouldn't be my problems. And it's like, dude, On no level did you even interpret this toddler thing correctly. Very funny moment. Very funny moment. Lee being a massive retard and presenting it like he was a self-reflective, introspective, really great guy, but just a massive fucking loser. Yeah, him reaching out to me last night was pretty fucking, like, I know that he's just high as fuck sitting on his computer enjoying a life that his father built for him. Lee. Yeah, Lee. Yo, Crisp. Yo, Kendrick. I just wanted to say that I'm looking forward to the exploit. I just say that I don't have an issue with you leaking DMs. It's the shit post, dude. He just shit posts. Yo, I just wanted to say I don't have an issue with you leaking DMs talking about Rhea and women. I regret hurting censure. Wait, what date is this? 6/20th? 6/21? Okay, so yeah, this is Kendrick's reply to this thing here. I regret hurting censure, but the way you all feel about it means very little to me. Come on, man. Why are you shitposting at me about it if you don't give a fuck? It was just fun to stir the pot a little bit. Hope you're doing well. This isn't just a little bit of fun. This is the cheap thrills that these dudes live on. Yeah, go be successful in your life and then come back and fuck with people, bro. Like, you divorced Discord Degen. They can't throw that shit back on me. Like, sure, I might spend a lot of time on my computer, but I barely even have time to socialize. Whereas that's all you guys do. Which we'll see Lee admit to that in a second. Also, Saber having an opinion considering what he did to Harriet is crazy. Bro, how do you dox someone multiple times and then pretend you regret it? I didn't. So he's fully downplaying what he did. I thought you meant multiple different instances. Oh, as in typing in multiple times? No, on multiple servers. I didn't dox her on multiple servers. What? Said her first name in VC a couple of times. But that's what you're calling doxing. You're reaching really far, lol. So her super unique first name isn't a dox? It quite literally isn't. It quite literally is. It is quite literally him maliciously using her personal information as like a weaponized threat against her. It's not even a threat, he's just doing it. He's literally just causing her to feel like vulnerable. He's leaking security issues. Like, dude. I'll leave that up for you guys to decide. I feel like I don't need to argue the point. There's a point to be made about me saying her name when she didn't want me to. I feel bad for doing that. Changing the definition of doxing is just to make it sound worse because you can now use a loaded word. It is quite easy to use the word doxing. It's pretty clear. You don't really need to change the definition for it. Personal information leaked with malicious intent. Boom. It doesn't even really have to be personal information leaked with malicious intent. It just has to be personal information used with malicious intent. I was told you doxed her in different servers by multiple people before you doxed her in Justical. This is also what Rhea was saying. I was told when the shit was originally happening around the end of April. I don't believe you, nigga. There's no way that she told you that. She's not a liar. Okay, for one thing, who is she? Because he says multiple people. There's no way she told you that. She's not a liar. So he is not responding to what has been said. He is in his own little world. Whoever else told you that dumbass shit is a dumbass, this is also not a coherent response. I've never tried to minimize the shit I did. He's done it 2 or 3 times in this conversation. I don't know why you think I'd start today, because you don't stop. And I think Kendrick, yes, says right here, you're pretending to regret it. I have no motivation to have any form of relationship with. Well, Lee, you started this conversation. You did deny it. You did downplay it. You show why you would do it. Well, Kendrick calls you out on why you would do it. And now you're delivering, a multi-factored, nice, eloquent reason of like, but it's all just bullshit. So, perfect example. This is like a nice little looking to avoid because Kendrick did a great job, like calling it out. He applied the pressure, and this is a under pressure, poor response. But you can see how easily he's able to give a response like this. However, he didn't quite think this one through. Or maybe if he had thought this one, I don't think he needs to think these through. I think just delivering these well-formed responses works a lot of the time because people don't really cross-reference it. They don't really have time or energy or give a fuck about Lee to do that. They're just like, hey, at least this guy seemed to be able to put together something that he was thoughtful about, but like, he's not really. There's a reason why people still fuck with me, Kendrick. So this is the hard cope. This is the emotional amnesia. This is the seeking like validation from places outside of yourself. This is the way that so this next line is going to be how Lee manages to not do any self-growth because he just takes on the actions of other people and uses them as justification for his like existence, and to argue that the problems that he surrounds himself with and creates, this is how he just says they're not real and these problems aren't true. So there's a reason people still fuck with me, Kendrick. There's a reason that they're all joining the Highlands. There's a reason why Rhea, a person who was my biggest detractor, is chill with me. Well, Lee, that reason is crisp lettuce. So congratulations, bro. Turns out nothing is real for Rhea, and yeah, now your biggest hater is one of your best friends. It's fucking disgusting. You've all wiped the good interactions that we had from your minds. I haven't. I think I specifically recalled those good interactions in my conversation with him today. Also, like, he also just said that him and Kendrick have no relationship, so I don't know how that's coherent. Based on one egregious action? Nope. I feel like I've had repeated egregious actions with this dude. That's fair. Okay, so is it fair or not? Like, why bring... fuck, dude. This is so frustrating. Sorry, it's not that frustrating. But there are definitely people who are like, how can you guys be pissed off about him? He said like it was fair about this, and like people make mistakes and then they come back and then they be good. I have a dog shit response that like sometimes people do bad things, other times other people do good things. Like I still get along with Lee, and I was like, Legacy, this is the exact same kind of thing that I get too worked up when I read this. Like this is just a little segment that I don't give a fuck about, but like I'm in here like passionately reading this. I have to fix it. I have to save the world, chat. Man. I've never passed the blame on to her, and I never will. I fucked up and went too far. There's justified ramifications for that. I accept that and take the consequences. Saying you don't like me and saying that I don't care or regret are two different things. There's a reason Rhea, and a person who was my biggest detractor, is chill with me. You've all wiped the good interactions that we had from your minds. It's just such a he pulled this shit on me with the android thing, where he's like, you're paranoid and like you're just emotional, and it's just like, again, the call right here, like you're just being emotional. Retconning the way you viewed me as cringe. Kendrick is like a very discerning and judgmental figure. The discerning part, like being super judgmental is bad, but like if you're discerning about it, balances it. So I'm saying he's very discerning and judgmental. I don't think Kendrick needs to retcon that he had a very harsh judgment of Lee, probably very initially. I don't think Lee saying this to anyone would like give it more weight though, but especially against Kendrick, it's like just retarded. I don't care how good of interactions we've had, there's lines you don't cross. Very true. I get that. That's why I wouldn't argue with people. Like, bro, look at Kendrick's like little responses and look how, if it was me at this point, I would just be like, well fuck, like I'm not convincing this guy. But Lee just needs to grandstand. Good on him for trying, but I don't know, maybe you should leave at this point and wonder how it got to this stage with someone, instead of trying to like brute force your way out by like saying that you're an emotional dickhead, like a whole bunch of bullshit here, you can't judge me for the way I am because you don't know the way I am. Yeah, I don't get that. That's why I wouldn't argue with people deciding that they're done with me. That is literally what he just argued. He literally just argued like, well, but like Rhea's not done with me, and if you people are done with me, then you're wrong and emotional. That is literally what he just argued. Just don't act like there's not something I hold myself accountable for. He has just downplayed what he has done multiple times and literally said it didn't happen, and literally said that we changed the definition of what doxing is. So he's literally saying that he didn't dox. I've never passed the blame onto her. Censure, if we had Censure's logs, we can literally see Lee saying, like, Censure, you're just like emotional and being irrational and you're attacking me for no reason. Dude, I never will. I fucked up and went too far. How? Admit what it was that you think you did. It's just not a coherent understanding. There's justified ramifications for that. I accept that and take the consequences. Saying you don't like me and saying that I don't care / regret are two different things. Bro, how do you dox people multiple times then pretend you regret it? Referring to this. Saying you don't like me and saying that I don't care / regret it are two different things. I don't think Kendrick's at any point really saying he doesn't like him. Just multiple servers. He never says like, I don't like you, or like, hey, just so you know we aren't friends or anything, right? Kendrick just sort of states the facts. And this is like this isn't like an I don't like you. This is like a direct response to saying like, he's like, hey, I did good stuff. Remember the good stuff I did? And he's like, it's not about the good stuff. It's about the lines that you crossed that you were also denying. And then he was like, well, you can't say you don't like me. Be reasonable, Kendrick. Be reasonable. And this is like brain melting for a lot of people. A lot of people would see this and be like, ugh. Anyway, I think that's pretty much us done for that segment.